Hello everyone, this podcast is brought to you by Apparel. Is a men's clothing brand that wants to encourage more fellas to do yoga. Yoga is in their DNA and it's reflected in everything they do, from being kinder to the environment by using sustainable recycled fabrics to their recycled paper packaging and their focus on men's health. I use myself, I wear their clothing, you'll be able to see that if you look at my Instagram. And that is proof, you see, I do wear their stuff. Their fabrics are eco-certified, because we want to look after our planet and we want to be responsible for manufacturing as much as we can. So if you'd like to buy some clothing to practice yoga or comfortable movement and look good at the same time, go to om.com/#TYLP. So that's ohmme.com/#TYLP. Check out our full range of activewear for men. Choose what you want. Put in the promo code Kevin at checkout and you get 15% off your items. That's Kevin at checkout for 15% off. om.com/#TYLP. Second sponsor is 108 Asana Yoga Sequencing Cards by Yogaroo, helping you to simplify your sequencing to bridge that gap between your studio classes and your home practice. They make your practice accessible at home, when you're traveling, or even when you're building a class. All their cards are designed with your individual needs, levels of experience. They're giving you all the information you need, from alignment cues to level guides, anatomy coding, and the Sanskrit to English translations. If you go to their website, yogaroo.ie, and you put in the promo code Kevin, that's 10% off your cards. So yogaroo.ie, promo code Kevin for 10% off your cards. Third and final sponsor is Small Changes. No promo code, no commission. Go to smallchanges.ie, check them out. Whole food store that produce or provide organic food and other things for your consumption, for your mindful consumption. If you're in the Dublin area, Drumcondra and soon to be Glasnevin, check them out. Bring down your refillable cup and get 50% off your brew. That's Small Changes. Okay, today my guest is someone who's quite familiar to me. She's my missus, my girlfriend, or if you want to be mature, she's my partner. Yeah, Rachel. This is stories from our time in Bali, some of the highs, some of the lows, and all the truth. Hope you enjoy it. Let's do this. Put it a bit closer to you, darling. Right, let's talk about Bali. We're starting now. So we're sitting here, me and Rach, in our house coats. in England we call them dressing gowns or robes, to talk about Bali. It's been 2 weeks since Bali.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Yeah, about 2 weeks. We decided to go to Bali back in February. That's when we booked it, and we booked it on February 1st. And actually, hold on a sec. Let's talk about Travelgenio, the scumbags Travelgenio. Yeah, this is like a watchdog report. So we booked our flights through Skyscanner, and I've used Skyscanner a lot, which I think it's kind of a typical way to book, isn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of people use it. But when you book through Skyscanner, there's a middleman company who I assume take a commission. And normally I don't think about it twice, you just pick the cheapest one. So we booked our flights through Skyscanner. We got a confirmation email with our itinerary. So, okay, that's great. And then about 3 days before we were due to take off, Rach brought it to my attention that we hadn't got a reminder email saying, make sure to check in or,
Yeah, because you don't think about it. You book the holiday and then you just go, oh, that's booked. I'm going to start packing and I'm going to start shopping and looking up things to do. You don't think, oh, should I be keeping an eye on the flights, until like a couple of days before.
Exactly.
It was the day before. It was only the day before we flew, because I said, I haven't got that email to say, oh, you can check in online now. Oh, God, it was so terrifying.
I know. Yeah, actually, you're right. It was a day before. So this is a warning for anyone who uses Skyscanner in general and calling out the scumbags at Travelgenio. They I called Travel Genio or tried to get in touch with them, couldn't. Checked the emails and realised that we only ever received one from them since February. So I then called Emirates directly, and they checked the flight and said that our names, my name and Rachel's name, were reserved, but the booking had been cancelled. So the travel agency Travel Genio had booked the flight on February 1st and then cancelled it on February 2nd, essentially keeping the money, and we had paid without actually having a flight with Emirates. So the day before we were supposed to go, we had no flight.
And it's very sneaky because on their website, when it was booked, I got the confirmation email and I went onto the site and it said, like, I had the status and I had the flight number, so all the details for the Emirates flight. And you think, oh yeah, everything is fine. And we were worried about, we better make sure we get insurance and get all these little side bits, because once it's done, it's boxed off.
But you said that the status was cancelled, wasn't it?
Yeah, but the day that it was booked, it had, status confirmed,
yeah.
And it had all these flight details attached to it.
Yeah. So then I decided, right, Travel Genio, who is this company? I've actually never heard them before. I'd heard of Expedia and these other middlemen agencies. And I put their name into Trustpilot, which I should have done in the first place. I made the assumption. And their average review rating on Trustpilot was something like 1 star out of 5. And it was just, all the reviews said, do not trust these guys. I booked my flight through Skyscanner and then they cancelled straight away. And I never got my money back. So I thought, God, this is really concerning. I'm going to call them up. Was put on wait for ages. I must have called, 4 or 5 times, spoke to people who couldn't speak English, and it was a premium number. And actually, I got my phone bill through last week, and it was €100 more than it normally is. Normally it's 25. It was €125 on my phone bill. Yeah. But I essentially threatened legal action on them to say, this is out of order. Our flight has been cancelled, and long story short, they actually refunded Rach in the end, because Rach treated me to it for my birthday, they refunded us, which was great. But the downside was I ended up having to pay for the flight the day before we were leaving, so it cost $3,600. It cost us to go to Bali, to fly out there and return. €3,600. Just start saying that again. Right?
Let's just emphasise that.
Yeah, and I think originally...
And we didn't get the refund straight away. It took about a week.
Yeah, so
we're in Bali, like $4,000 down.
Yeah.
Plus the original. It was just...
Yeah. Yeah, and not even knowing if we were going to get a flight over. And then we couldn't sit together either, because we did it last minute. But anyway...
But it all worked out.
It all worked out in the end.
We got there.
But so yeah, Travel Genio, I say that for the third and final time, avoid them. And
it's probably best not to do an intermediate or have a middleman person. Like, go on Skyscanner. That's what I think I'm going to do. Go on Skyscanner, have a look at the flights, and then go directly to the airlines instead of having somebody else book. It's just it's a small bit of hassle, but... For a few extra clicks, you're dealing directly with the airline. Yeah.
And so then we're like, we're actually saying, should we bother going for $3,500? Is it actually worth it? And we said, no. Do you know what? We want to go on holiday together. It's our first big holiday together, and so we decided, we'll do it. And then we actually. By the way, if I skip any bits, Rach, feel free to take me back.
Okay.
Take me back.
Okay. No, we're all right. Although we said we'd never talk about the money thing.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
We made a pact with each other to never discuss the money, because it was such a big deal. That day was horrible. It was so stressful. Will we go? Will we not go? The holiday's ruined. How are we going to afford it? Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. But...
And then
fair enough. We'll tell the people.
Yeah, exactly. tell the people. Exactly. So then the next day we were leaving for Bali, and we got a text that morning saying that one of us had been upgraded to business class.
And we spent hours going, oh, I'm going to take it.
I was like, see ya.
And then we were like, oh, well, maybe we could do half. You can go there for half the flight and then we can swap. And, and we were like, okay, one of us is upgraded. And we were slagging each other the whole way. Going, oh no, it's going to be me who's upgraded. It's just whoever gets the upgrade, because it said one and we didn't know which one it was. And then when we went there, they were like, oh, you're both upgraded.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, because they were in my first ever time in business class, and it was your first time, Rich. Yeah. Okay. And it
was like Spot the Peasants. It was so bad. Everyone around us was just sitting there and completely, as if it was completely normal to just lay down on a bed on a plane. It's like, what?
Yeah.
They came over straight away and said, would you like freshly squeezed orange juice while you wait for your champagne?
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God.
I know. We were being like so unclassy. I was calling Rach on my phone using, calling from my seat to her seat and stuff like this. So that made a huge difference. And I think I checked it out afterwards. Flying business class is about, I think, let's say like a regular seat is £1,000. To fly business class is about 1,600 or something. So it's almost like a third more. I think that I don't believe in spending money on many things, but I think it might be worth it. If you were doing that flight a lot, because it made a huge difference. We could lie down, we could move around.
It was like a holiday before the holiday.
Yeah, it really was.
It was like a 4-star hotel.
Yeah.
They came over with a cocktail menu, like on a plane. What is
the
this?
hot towels as well for the face.
God. They came around every few minutes with champagne, and they came around with organic chocolate, and they came around and they said, oh, because it's an evening flight, we put mattresses down. The chairs reclined the full way back, and then they put mattresses down for you to sleep.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And all the little free things as well. The toothbrushes and the whatever they gave you.
Yeah, we were taking all the freebies. So then we got to Bali, and we oh my God. So here's a bit of advice. 1, don't use Travelgenio. 2, have a chauffeur, or I said that in a posh way, chauffeur. Have a driver arranged for you when you get to the airport, because I started getting a little bit stressed. We got there and it was we had no driver arranged, so I had to find a driver. Everyone is bugging you, which is to be expected. And I think Rach, was kind of enjoying the novelty of it, but I was trying to sort it out,
I was laughing. But they weren't really annoying me. They were annoying Kevin a lot more.
Yeah.
They obviously knew that he was going to be making the decision here. He's walking around all stressed, looking at his phone, and I'm just sauntering behind going, oh.
Yeah.
And everybody is pulling him left and right.
Yeah. So we ended up getting, I just called the place we were staying, Airbnb, to pick us up in the end, which we should have done in the first place. But and then when we got to our Airbnb, it was so we started off in Ubud, or how do the Americans say it? Ubud. Ubud, yeah. Ubud. Well, we're saying Ubud, right? That's like
there's a U there.
There's a U. Exactly. Ubud. We did 1 week in Ubud and 1 week in Canggu, and in Ubud we stayed in a villa that had its own pool. No one else was really staying in the villa, and it was nice. But the one thing that was really hard to get used to is the sound of the geckos. I said, "What the fuck is that?" It was
so
like
funny.
I thought there's a frog in the room.
I thought it was a bird. I don't know what it was. Yeah. No, it was the funny. It's like the first night we stayed there. In the middle of the night, I wake up and Kevin is like pulling things apart, looking through the wardrobe. Like, what's going on? I think there's a frog in here. I'm like, so what? There's a frog. I don't know what the noise is, and I just like go back asleep, like taking no notice of it at all. And then the second night, we're drifting off asleep. the noise. And oh my God, I don't know, I've never... Google the sound of a gecko.
Yeah, that's the best thing to do.
I was going to do an impression of it there, but I
Give
thought...
it a go. That's quite good.
It's awful. But it's hard to know, like, there's no way we would have found out what the noise was, because you can't Google what is this noise into your phone. So I was like, what is... I was actually terrified. The first night I heard it, terrified, because I was like, God, there's something in here. And we couldn't find anything, and we pulled the place apart. But then we went to a yoga class then the following day, and mid yoga class the teacher's like, make the sound of the Bali gecko. We just burst out laughing in the middle of the class. That's it.
Yeah, we went. That was actually our first class. Was in Radiantly Alive. Shout out to them. A really nice little studio, because in Ubud you have Radiantly Alive, which is a smaller studio, and then you have Yoga Barn, which is a lot bigger, and Radiantly Alive was just really close to us. So it was really nice in there. It's like a real what you call a sharla, and the yoga was, we did like a morning flow. It was gentle. It was really enjoyable, so that was a nice experience. I mean, we had a great time in Ubud, but we found that getting around was a bit of a hassle because the footpaths. Oh my God,
bad.
The footpaths are so.
I wouldn't even call them a footpath.
No, it's like debris.
Yeah.
Big, massive holes in the footpath, and if you're walking with flip-flops and it's late at night, it was really quite dangerous. Because I said, "There's no way I'm getting a motorbike." I've owned a motorbike before, and I've driven them in Vietnam, and but I didn't want to risk, hurting Rach. If I had an accident, I wouldn't feel good if like Rach was on it and she hurt herself. But we just thought, do you know what? We can't be walking on these footpaths all the time. So I think the second day we rented a scooter, and then we collected it the third day, and it was a game changer. It really was in terms of getting around. How do you find the bike?
Awful. It was like the biggest cause of stress ever. It was awful, and I was trying not to mention it too much when we were there, because I didn't want to make it a big thing. I didn't want to have a discussion around it every time we got on, like, are you sure? Is this going to be okay? So I just was like, okay, I'm just going to get on this, hold my breath for 40 minutes when we go up the mountains or wherever we went. But there's no regulation at all getting a motorbike over there.
No.
You just pop into the shop. What was it? It was like a $5 a day or something ridiculous. So cheap. And all they want is the money. Yeah. And they just took down your address. And then we had to ask for helmets as well. Yeah,
the helmets they gave us were ropey, and I had to be,
They weren't giving them to us. They were just like, oh yeah, I'll show you the bike, and you were like,
can we get helmets? Yeah. But the bike, it was a game changer. I didn't realise you felt so stressed about it, but you hit it well. So thank you for repressing your feelings around me
for 2 weeks.
It's a healthy relationship.
Oh God, it was just the first time we got on, because I'd never been on a motorbike before. The only reason I got on was because Kevin owned a motorbike before, and he rode one
and crashed it twice.
Yeah, well, I didn't find that out until the holiday. I'm terrified about the motorbike. The man's like, oh, hop on, and you're like, oh yeah, hop on the back there. He didn't even go through any sort of, all he did was, this is how you turn it on, this is how you turn it off, this is go, this is stop. And I'm like, okay, Kevin did this before, it's grand. And then riding along for a couple of days, and then we're sitting in a restaurant, and he's like, oh, did I ever tell you what happened with the other motorbike? I just, I crashed it. And then another time I didn't stop at the lights quick enough, and I just had to jump off. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay.
I know, yeah. The thing about in Bali is, it seems to work well because people use their horn as a notification as opposed to a warning. They're not or out of anger. So people are constantly beeping just to let you know where they are, and it actually works quite well. The only thing you have to be wary of is people maybe driving drunk, because we've seen one accident, and the guy. It happened right next to us. They clashed and he skidded off the bike, and the whole back of his leg, his calf muscle got peeled down.
Ugh. And the medical term for that is called degloving.
Oh, right.
Sorry.
Where'd you get that from?
I was talking about it to a friend.
Okay.
because they said, oh, there's a picture of you on a motorbike. I thought you'd never do that. I said, God, I was terrified. And I told them about the accident. They said, yeah, she works in a hospital. She said the medical term is degloving.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
When it peels all the way down.
Oh, God.
I know.
It was pretty nasty. Yeah, so that would, but the bike worked out okay in the end. I mean, it allowed us to go beyond like 10 minutes outside. I mean, it was the bike that kind of let us go further afield to places like Yoga Barn, for example. So we did another class in Yoga Barn. I mean, I did a few in Radiantly Live. Did a workshop there too at Chris Fox, but we went to a class in Yoga Barn, and it was with a chap called Marcus Vader, I think his name was. And for me, that was my most enjoyable yoga experience in Bali. It was me and Rachel right next to each other, which is nice. We don't get to practice that much together in public. And the class had probably 50 people in it, and it was in an unbelievable shala. I mean, it was like a thatched roof.
It was beautiful.
It was...
The grounds, the whole place was fantastic.
Stunning.
It was beautiful, so beautiful.
You couldn't make it up. It was just... And it had everything you needed there. Now, you can save a lot of money in Bali, but one way you will hemorrhage money is through buying these glass bottles of kombucha that they sell in the... They're basically like €4 for a bottle, more as expensive as they are in Dublin. But that's what I noticed. The yoga was reasonable. I mean, I think it was €16 per class, which is the same as Dublin, really.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's not cheap, you'd say. But the class was great. He was a great teacher as well.
It was really fun.
Yeah, it's really fun.
It was really just, yeah. It wasn't the typical, the teacher, very strict and, reserved. He was so playful.
He was really playful.
He was walking through everybody and, having a laugh. He picked up the girl in front of us.
Yeah.
when she was doing...
as in physically picked her up.
Not like they had a dinner after. He picked her up a couple of times when she was in like bow pose, was it? Yeah, it was brilliant. Put her arms around his shoulders.
Yeah.
And had a little walk with her.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
It was fun.
But Yoga Barn was great. And the other thing that the bike allowed us to do was we rode all the way out to do a flotation tank. And this was in, I think it's called Float Ubud maybe.
Yeah.
Or Float Bali. And it's a place out...
It was up near the mountain.
Up near the mountains, yeah.
Yeah, it was gorgeous.
And, but I'd never done a float tank before. You had
No.
What do you think of it?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I definitely recommend it. But
didn't you?
I wasn't prepared when I started off. Yeah, if you have little cuts, she said, put Vaseline on any of your cuts to cover it up because it's so salty. So straight away I was like, because I've psoriasis on the back of my head, a little bit of psoriasis, and I really needed to put Vaseline there. So I had to get in and out a couple of times before I found my groove in there. Yeah. The first 15 minutes, I don't know how long, because you're a bit...
It's an hour in total.
You're an hour there. So I don't know, maybe about 15 minutes. I was like, this is so boring.
Yeah.
I'm just lying here.
Yeah. I had a tiny little cut on my leg. I didn't even realise it was really a cut. And the sting was unbearable. I had to back out again, put Vaseline on. So we basically didn't listen to what she said.
We were like, ooh, a tank.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, whatever.
She was like, do this, do that. And then another thing is, don't touch your face, especially your eyes, because it gets really salty. And then they have a spray bottle in the tank, and you're in. Okay, for a start, you don't wear any clothes, so you're completely naked, and you've got these earplugs in. You're getting into a tank. It's pitch black, and so you feel a little bit kind of vulnerable. And then they have a spray can or whatever, a spray bottle next to where you're lying, and I started getting salt in my eyes, so I started spraying my face at the bottle, and I was thinking, this is way worse. But the bottle was, why is it
vinegar?
Why is it for vinegar?
I don't know, but that's what she said at the start.
What's that for?
I don't know.
Because basically I'd salt in my eyes and I sprayed vinegar in my eyes.
You're just missing the chips.
So
it's so bad.
So I was like, and then I had to get back out and wash my face in actual water. But yeah, the tank was great. Then I mean, all in all, it was a great experience. Again, €60 per or $60, so same price you pay in Dublin. And then after we had dinner when we were there, which was really lovely.
The experience itself was a little bit trippy, because I was lying there for about 15 minutes thinking, what is the point of this? I don't know what's going on. And then I just said, I'll just breathe and relax. And, I did some some chanting.
Same here.
Yeah, just to relax myself. And then I thought, I'll just close my eyes. I wasn't sure if my eyes were open or closed. I was in that I was in that state. After a while, I got into this state of, am I in between awake and asleep?
Yeah.
And I started hearing Kevin breathing, and we were in separate tanks, in separate rooms completely. And I was like, oh yeah, there's Kevin, he's gotten in here. I was like, am I asleep? No, I'm awake. You don't really know what's going on, because all of your senses are, sensory deprivation.
Exactly.
So you're floating. It feels like you're just floating through space, and colours started to show up, and it was really cool. I'd say it probably takes a while. It probably doesn't happen for somebody who doesn't meditate very often or isn't used to relaxing.
Yes.
So it's probably good at the start just to relax. But if you are someone who meditates a lot or spends a lot of time just relaxing, if it's easy to get into that state of, oh, I'm starting to see colours, or my imagination is running away with me a little bit. Yeah,
definitely. I think that if you practice regular meditation, you'd enjoy it a lot more. So then we had dinner there after that, and then, which was the dinner. I mean, anywhere you go in Ubud or in Bali, the food is really good. Like pretty much, wasn't it? It was all really good vegan stuff, and reasonably priced as well. But people said to me before I went, they're like, "Oh, it's like $1 for dinner." I'm like, no, hold on a sec. It's about $10 for dinner. People do like to exaggerate, don't they? We all do. I think we exaggerate to kind of make something sound more impressive. But I don't even know what we spent there, because the money was so confusing. I know.
We were in the millions. We're like, oh, we'll just take a couple million out.
Exactly, whatever.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a couple of $100 for this. Sure.
I mean, I never budget on holiday.
No.
What? But
what?
I don't budget anyway for anything.
I just hope for the best.
Yeah, just see what you got left over in the month. That's my saving tactic. So the other thing we did in Ubud towards the end of our stay there was we went to the water temple.
When we went to the water temple was great, and when we changed, and then before we went into, basically the way it was set up was there was a massive temple, and in the center there was it was almost like a fountain full of pipes, and you got in, and you said like a little prayer type thing, and then went under the water. But before we went in there, somebody bumped into Kevin and was like, "Oh, I listened to your podcast."
Oh yeah.
I'm from Australia.
New Zealand.
New Zealand.
Yeah.
Shout out to that guy.
Actually. That was Andrew and Robin.
It's so cool. It's like, Kevin is famous.
Yeah, I know. They're actually an Irish couple. An Irish couple that were living in New Zealand. Yeah. And he said
they're starting out as yoga teachers.
They're starting out as yoga teachers. They've done their 200 hours, and they Andrew Buckley, that's it, and Rob and his wife Robin, they started doing their 200 hours, and it was crazy. They said, "Oh, are you Kevin from the Yoga Life podcast?" I said, it was really cool, because I remember I get a bit awkward. It doesn't happen that often, but if someone recognises me, it's just a bit strange for me. I mean, I'm massively flattered. And actually, Robin, his missus, she was lovely. She said, "Do you get sick of people saying to you, 'Oh, I listen to your podcast'?" I said, "Absolutely not." I said, "This is the highlight of my day. I will be talking about this, or this is what not keeps me going, but it's a huge compliment if someone recognises me or my voice or whatever." And yeah, it was. And so after we did the water temple, was the next then the cacao ceremony before we left?
Oh, we went to the monkey forest.
Oh, the monkey forest, yeah.
That was hilarious because we were completely paranoid before we went to it. We were reading up online things to do in Ubud, and like the number one thing that pops up is go to the monkey forest.
Yeah.
So we were reading about that, where it was, like, you know, what's it about, and there was all these warnings that the monkeys were dangerous and they'd rob things out of your pockets, and you know, they'd scratch and bite you, and they'd jump all over, jump on your head. And so I was completely paranoid. I went and bought I wear glasses, and I was like, we have to go and get contact lenses because they're going to run away. My glasses are shiny, they're going to love them. And then before we went as well, I was like, empty all your pockets, don't bring any bags. And I had money like hidden away in my bra. I was like, I just in case they go through all my pockets and my shoes. But then we went there, and it was fine. The monkeys were were fine. They were doing their own thing.
Yeah, Monkey Forest was good, but I think overrated. It's like, as for Ubud, it's like one of the main attractions. I thought it was cool, but it was
I loved it.
I liked it, but when we walked in there, you walk through this tunnel. I think it's a pretty unnecessary tunnel just to kind of add the scare factor, and it's all pitch black. And then you come out, and the first thing that happened to us as soon as you walked out of the tunnel was this like kind of Asian lady, as in like Japanese perhaps, was all blinged up. She had a camera and, you know, shiny necklace and stuff, and she was walking out as we were walking in, and a monkey jumps on her. So that was kind of entertaining to watch her like yelp.
But it was all part of our we're nervous going in here in case the monkeys do something to us, because there was all these signs before you went in. So you went through before you went through this dark, scary tunnel. There was all these signs: don't look the monkey in the eye, don't run, don't smile, don't make any sudden movements. Yeah. We're like, oh my god,
what do you do? Yeah.
Like, oh my god, what's gonna happen in here? And then we go to that scary tunnel, and the first thing that we see is a monkey fall from a tree onto the woman's shoulder.
Yeah,
she's screaming. So I was terrified, actually, for the first 5 minutes. But then it was lovely.
I was trying to be like, pretend like I was being a big man walking ahead of you, but I was a bit like, geez, a monkey jumps on me, I don't know what I'll do. I just carry on walking, I suppose. But yeah, so we were in there for about an hour. We did a tour of it. It was cool. We didn't take any pictures. We didn't bring a camera with us
because we were terrified.
But also as well, Rach, and we talked about this before. It's like, who wants to see a picture of a monkey? If I came back and were like, here's a picture of a monkey, but so what? I mean, I'm a bit like that when it comes to taking pictures when I'm on holiday. I mean, I mean, part of my job is to have pictures of me, and I was thinking I want to take pictures when I'm in Bali because it's a yoga place, I'm a yoga teacher. But the other part of me was like, I'm on holiday with you, I don't want every day to be a photo shoot. Occasionally get a picture here and there. And plus as well, if someone comes back from holiday and is like, oh, do you want to see my holiday photos? My first thoughts are definitely not.
It's terrible.
I don't care about your holiday photos. If I'm not in the photos, I don't want to see them. but if I want to see a picture of a monkey, I'll just Google it. I'm good, you know.
Yeah, some pictures are a little unnecessary.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be a photo person really at all.
No, but we did get some pics, and I think which are nice because it is nice to look back on certain occasions. But just
sorry.
No, go on.
You know what we did in Ubud? We went to that dance ceremony, you know, at the palace.
Dance? Oh, God.
Kevin doesn't want to talk about this because...
I think I've wiped it from my mind because I'm emotionally scarred.
You're like, what dance ceremony? One of the nights, every night, the palace has a traditional dance ceremony. It's free and you just wander in. It wasn't free.
No, it wasn't free.
Was it free?
So I pay for it, that's why.
Oh, okay. It was free for me. And you're sitting on the ground, and they come out wearing like traditional outfits. They were amazing. Like their dance moves were very subtle, but they were using their fingers and their eyes. It looked really unusual. Nothing like you'd see anywhere. Nothing like I'd seen anywhere anyway. But their costumes were outrageous. And they had it was a five-piece dance routine, and the second piece was a dance of Satan enjoying himself in a jungle forest, was the description. And he was terrifying. He was wearing this mask that was, the eyes were so bulging, and all the colours, it was like a clown. It was like a horror movie clown.
It's a bit like a samurai type mask, if you can imagine.
Yeah. And he came out and he was shaking around, getting up in everybody's face. And he came over, and I was freaked out, and I'm like clutching onto Kevin, like, oh God. And he came over to us and started dancing in front of us for ages, and Kevin was like putting up his fingers, the sign of the cross. Please make it stop. And then your man, Satan, pulled Kevin up onto the stage.
Because what happened was I was trying to basically make. I was the bloke sitting at the front row trying to make his girlfriend laugh by taking the mick out of the entertainer, that. And I was like saying, "Oh, this reminds me of me when I used to rave in Ibiza," and just like trying to mock him subtly to Rach to make her laugh. So then he seen this, came over. I did the sign of the cross, and then Rach,
and it all went wrong. He pulled him up onto the stage and made him dance. Oh, it was brilliant. And the dance, it was like it was like a twerk kind of dance, but like even more like a vibrating twerk, if you can imagine.
So awkward.
And they left him up there for a while. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
And actually, a couple of days later, people were like, "Oh, were you at that dance festival or that dance ceremony in the palace the other day?" That was brilliant.
I know.
So funny. He's mortified. He's completely red. He came back down, head between his knees. Oh, it was brilliant.
There's always sometimes you're in an audience and there's always like one poor bastard that gets pulled up. Yeah. I was that guy.
And I don't even think they probably don't even do that every night. Just.
I think he made an exception for me because he just wanted to pun it. Yeah.
So speaking of pictures, I made sure I got a picture.
You got a picture.
Just a roundabout way of saying that.
No, that's a good one actually, Rach. Thanks for that. So then we went to So then the last day in Bali. If I forget anything, Rachel, put it like I was.
The last day in Ubud.
Last in Ubud, yeah, thank you. I seen a poster up in Sayuri. Big shout out to Sayuri, by the way.
We love Sayuri.
The best food place in Ubud.
We went there five times in the one day.
I know.
I feel like we know the staff.
Yeah.
Our family.
Well, we met Sayuri herself, who owns it. But so I seen a poster up and it said Vinyasa and cacao ceremony, and it was the day we were leaving, 9 a.m. that Sunday before we left for Canggu. I said, Rach, do you fancy going to that? I think it was 300,000 each. So it was like 30 quid each, 30 euro, 35 euro, something each. And for his 2-hour workshop. And I thought it'd be nice to do something together on our last little hurrah to leave Ubud. And we went, so Rach is up for it, went along, 9 a.m. We got there, it was Johan Kest, shout out to him by the way. He's going to be the guy, when I do the promo picture of this episode, it's going to be myself, Rach and Johan in the middle. That's the guy with his shirt off, tanned guy.
I actually, when I came back, I showed my pictures to people in work. They were like, "Oh, it's just you and a half-naked man there. What's the story there?"
Exactly.
Because we didn't take too many pictures, and it just looks like, why that one?
Yeah, but
yeah, it was.
But it was yeah. So I had known of Johan before just from Instagram, and he's kind of well known he's got a good reputation internationally as a teacher, and so we just sat down. There was probably 12 people there at the back of Sayuri in a little studio, and Johan comes in, and he comes in with this chap called Grant, blonde-haired guy with carrying a pair of bongos. I thought, all right, the bongos is worrying me a little bit here. What's going on? Is there going to be music? But do I have to dance again? Basically, I was thinking, and then we sat down, and then what was the first thing we did?
They handed out chocolate. Oh, it was delicious.
Hot chocolate, basically.
Yeah, but it was kind of spicy. It was unusual.
Yeah.
It was cacao, I don't know what they had in it, chili or...
Yeah, that's traditionally how the Mayans would drink it, is with chili.
It's delicious.
It was 9 o'clock in the morning and we're saluting, they're like, cacao, whatever.
We did not do that. What happened was they handed out chocolate, a drink of chocolate to everybody, hot chocolate, and your man starts playing a ukulele, was it, or bongos?
Yeah.
He's playing an instrument, and everybody started singing.
I know.
Straight away, and Kevin looks at me. He's like, "We're in deep."
There's no turning back now.
I was like, "Oh God, this is 2 hours. What's gonna happen here?" And we were just like silently singing along, and everybody was crazy for it.
Yeah.
They were belting out the song, and it seemed like everybody knew the song.
I know.
I don't know, but yeah, we did that.
So we drank the cacao, and then
We did some partner stuff then.
Oh yeah. So I put my mat next to Rach. I'm in between Rach and Suri, the little Japanese lady. I probably shouldn't say little. She's perfectly sized Japanese person who sat a mat next to me, and then next to Rach was this man, young man, and ended up, I thought, I'm not going to partner with Rach because it's a bit obvious, we're together. So I let her partner, not let her.
I gave permission.
Yeah. But Rach partnered up with the guy next to her, and I partnered up with Sayori. And the first thing we did was these seated partner stretches. So you sit in Sukhasana back to back and do some breathing, which is really nice. I enjoyed that. And then leaning forward, leaning backwards on each other to kind of assisted stretches. And then it got a little bit more intimate. There was kind of hand-holding type stretches. And then we started practicing, and it was a strong Johan-esque practice. He was like... So Johan was like, shout out to Johan, by the way. What a great guy. But it was so funny the way his class was like, I haven't been to a class like that before.
Yeah, either.
He was like, beautiful people don't happen by accident. Beautiful people is, I think that's quite a good accent.
Yeah, it's all right.
Don't happen by accident. It's like, beautiful people are made. And then he was talking about like what makes someone beautiful while we were practicing, and
it was really unusual. What he did was he went through a sequence with us twice maybe, and then he left us to do it ourselves in our own time. And while we were doing it in our own time, he had like kind of dance music on, like he actually played Beautiful People, Chris Brown, in the background. So that type of music while we did our own thing, and we all went at different paces. And then he was like shouting out quotes, like getting us going. Yeah, it was actually really nice because really you were doing your own thing, listening to like really
uplifting
nice,
house,
happy music, and then listening to him say, you're worth it, and build yourself up, all this kind of stuff. And he did about 2 sequences. And we were doing our own thing. It was really good. Yeah. But during, I got the fright of my life. We did it for, I don't know how long we were doing the yoga for, but it was really fast yoga. It was really dynamic. And he kept saying, now you're 20 minutes into your warm-up. Now you're 40 minutes into your warm-up. I'm like, oh my God, this is the warm-up. I can't handle this. All these planks, all these side planks. My body's not made for this. And in my head, I'm like, this is like... I didn't give you a finish time on the poster, and I'm like, oh my God, what if this is all day? I can't handle this. But we did do it for too long. Yeah. It was okay.
But it was actually necessary in the end, because without sounding cliche, it reminded me of being in space when I was in Ibiza back in 2016. 2007, when I was off my head on ecstasy. I'm
glad that you said in Ibiza, because I was like... It reminded you of being in space. I was like, where's he going with this?
Because it was euphoric. There was house music playing. We were sweating because the sun was peeking in through the canopy, and motivational quotes coming from Johan. And I was buzzing. I was absolutely buzzing. So all the awkwardness and the inhibitions I had at the start were kind of fading away. I was like, I'm up for this now. Yeah, whatever's coming next, I'm kind of up for it. And then what came next was pretty intense.
Was the dancing we did next.
We just started dancing then?
Yeah, straight away. They started playing the ukulele, and everybody started singing along and dancing. And they made a circle. Kevin got in the centre. He's like, I got this. I was on stage last night. No problem. Whatever.
Yeah, I did the caterpillar, which is like what I used to do back in the day, my kind of party piece. Not very well, but and I slipped actually doing it, but I think people expected more, and I was like, that's all I got. So I just walked back into the circle again. And then we were dancing around, and I was thinking, yeah, my inhibitions are kind of gone. I'm up for this as much as I'll ever be when you're sober and it's 10 o'clock in the morning. And then after we did the dancing, we stood around in a circle, put our arms around each other, did like some kind of kicking our legs and jumping around. And then he said, okay, now we're going to do some long eye contact holding. Like, is that right?
Yeah, what he made us do was we were in the circle and he said, we're going to slow it down. So we started singing, and then we started singing more quietly and a little bit softer to kind of relax us a little bit. And then he made us close our eyes, and we detached from everybody. And what he said was, he did like a small meditation, like a couple of minutes while we had our eyes closed. And then he said, you're going to use your intuition to walk forward and find a partner. And then when we found the partner, we stared into their eyes for, I don't know how long it was.
I'd say it was like 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was a decent amount of time. And then we held hands with that person and hugged them and stuff like that.
Who'd you get in the first time with your first eye gazer?
I got the guy who was my partner for the stretching.
Okay, so this guy, and I got this guy. Oh, I follow him on Instagram now, actually. He's oh damn, sorry mate, I forgot your name, but he seems like a really nice guy. Young American lad, very tall, kind of built a bit like Nate Diaz. And my experience was, I just opened my eyes and he's standing in front of me. He's probably, I'm 6 foot. I'm 5'11 3/4, right? But he was about 6'2", 6'3". So I'm looking up at him. He's sweating, shirt off, kind of athletic looking guy. And I'm thinking, I feel like I'm in a stare down for the UFC. So I was in kind of a slightly aggressive mode. I was looking up at him, like, I ain't gonna break. And then he's looking down at me. His nostrils kind of flaring, and I thought, right, I'm just gonna look at this guy. And I couldn't get out of my mind that this wasn't an aggressive thing. I thought, I need to stop thinking aggressive thoughts. And then, once I got over that, he kind of looked at me really deeply, like his eyes were slightly twitching, and he's looking right in my soul, and then he started slightly nodding, and I was like, yeah, this is cool, man, actually. And as this was going on, Johan was going, peel away the layers and see what's beneath the surface and this stuff, and it was actually working quite well. Rach, how was your first stare? You want to talk about that? You got something to tell me?
I got the same person who I did the partner stretching with at the start. It was very intimate. I was staring up at him, he's staring back down at me, and we didn't lose contact at all. There was no like twitching or awkwardness or blinking or anything, but it wasn't like I'm gonna keep my eyes open, competition or anything. It was really sweet, actually. And but your man, at the end we were
this guy
I feel a bit awkward.
You feel awkward? Okay, well let me take over a little bit. This guy was both feet in. I mean, he was fully in from the get-go, and I really admire that. He had absolutely no inhibitions, none. He was looking at Rach, as far as I remember, and he was kind of like, doing these big long breaths, like these kind of like type sighs. And fair play, like he didn't feel awkward about that at all. He was almost like he was kind of drinking in the experience, like, metaphorically speaking. And then after we did the eye gaze, we gave the person a hug, and he really hugged Rach. I mean, he was like giving her a big, and it wasn't I don't think it was in a sexual way at all, actually. I really think it was platonic. He's a good soul. he is someone who, oh, do you know his name?
No.
They never got his name, but he is someone who like exposed his soul that day. Maybe he's always like that, but I really I admired that a lot. Impressed, yeah.
Yeah.
And who'd you get second?
You.
Oh yeah. So then we didn't know how many we were going to. And we thought, how many times are we going to be doing this? So we had to do it again. I thought, bloody hell, we're doing it again. Just because I was a bit like, I'm drained after the first one.
Yeah, it was.
So the second one, we were walking around trying to find someone, and I kind of purposely walked in Rachel's direction. I think you purposely walked in mine. I hope you weren't.
I'm like trying to dodge you.
You're looking for that geezer again.
Yeah, like where is he gone?
No.
It was so intimate though. Looking into somebody's eyes for an extended amount of time is so intimate.
Yeah. So then I got Rach, and so I started looking at Rach, and I went from looking at this tall guy and feeling quite aggressive and slightly agitated, to looking at Rach. And I'm looking down at Rach, and I don't mean to embarrass you, but like Rach is really cute. She's got a little nose and really big eyes. And sorry, Rach, but I thought, so she's looking up at me, and I'm thinking, well, she looks so cute for a start. But secondly, this is really sappy, I know, sorry. I think like, oh God, I really love Rach. I mean, like she means the world to me. And so much of my happiness is just comes from her, that it's quite overwhelming how much she means to me. And then I thought, shit, I'm going to cry. And I didn't know where to look. My face started twitching. And I thought, Rachel's never seen me cry. So I started looking down at the floor. I was looking off to one side. And I could tell when I looked back at Rach, she was thinking, what's going on with Kev? Why is he kind of looking all over the shop? And I looked there, and I felt my chin going. So, your chin starts to wobble. And I thought, oh, this ain't a good look. And I thought, I can't help it. So I basically cried. I wasn't sobbing, but I just got a little bit overwhelmed. And then when that ended, we had a hug and probably said I love you, and and then they made us do it again. Not made us, but we did it again. And the next time I got Sayori, the girl that owns the restaurant. And who did you get?
Oh, I got this little woman.
She
was smaller than me, so
yeah,
she was little.
Yeah, so Rich got.
But yeah, it was a big transition going. It was nice that we did it 3 times, because the 3 times we did it were completely different experiences. Like I went from the first guy who was really open. That's what I felt. And what I felt from the first guy was he's really open. He's embracing the whole thing. He's taking me in. He's really non-threatening. I feel safe opening myself up here. And then the second was Kev. And it felt a bit strange with Kev, because I just came from your man he was drinking in the whole thing. He didn't lose eye contact at all. He was I could feel his warm breath on my face, which Whoa. Is like, because that's how close we were. And then I went to Kev, and he was really twitchy, and I didn't realize that he was feeling emotional at the start. I'm like looking up at him, thinking, oh, this is great, we're gonna have like this connection here. And I'm like, he won't make eye contact with me, what's going on? And then I could see his eyes welling up, and I was like, oh my God. It was a really good moment for us, I think. It was a really intimate moment. And then the third person that I got was this woman. She's probably up to my shoulder. And because you were so close, I think you were holding hands with the person at this one. They kind of changed throughout the 3 different ones, but I think we were holding hands. And because she was smaller, I felt like, God, I can't stand here properly. I need to like bend and do some sort of like mini squat to be at eye level with her. And I was a bit distracted on the third one, because I was thinking, God, it must be awful to be a man in a relationship and to have to like squat down to kiss or hunch down to kiss your girlfriend. That's all I kept thinking was, God, I'm so happy that I'm a woman and my boyfriend is taller than me, which is like not what I should have been doing. But I think
superficial.
I know, yeah. But I was like, I'm way too open. I'm already after doing 10 minutes, one with a complete stranger, and then with Kev of this is who I am, because you're completely vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
It's so strange because all you're doing is staring at another person, looking into their eyes, but you feel completely vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the third person, I couldn't really do it for any longer. I was just feeling, this is physically not where I'm at.
It was actually, yeah. I mean, I was hugging Sayuri because we had to hug at the end again. And she's, like I said, this is the little Japanese lady, and she was getting a pain in her neck, and I was getting a pain in my back from hugging. So, and then after that, we sat around in a circle, and this was the last thing we did for this seminar, this ceremony. Everyone opened up about, they went around in a circle saying like,
anything they wanted.
Anything
basically.
they want. It was a free for all, we mates didn't bother saying anything because, like, I've got nothing to give, man. I've just been crying, I mean, and a few people said some things that were. One lady who said she's comes from a place where she's experienced 2 earthquakes, been made homeless twice, and lost members of her family to natural disasters. And she's just grateful for. I mean, there was a lot of kind of I'm super grateful, nurturing, and these kind of slightly cliched lines that people come out with. So I was just like, I'm done with this, man. I just want some breakfast now. but she wanted to afterwards. And funny enough, Rach, me and Rach sat down afterwards to have breakfast in Surrey, and we put on a dictaphone. We recorded what happened because we were like, we want to do a podcast about this. Well, I wanted to anyway, and Rach would join me, which was, and which is where we are now. But it was it ended up being definitely the highlight of Ubud for me.
Plus, I found my soulmate there.
You have a geezer.
Yeah. When I was leaving, my partner from the start said, he gave me a hug. He was like, I'll see you around, and I feel like we've got a soul connection here.
I know. So Rach is kind of crouching down, and he's hugging her because he's sitting on the floor, and I'm there waiting while she's hugging some other geezer. And there's a bloke sitting next to him looking on at me and what's going on here. And I jokingly said to him, I says, she came at me, but she's leaving with him. That's how it goes.
You gotta be open-minded in these things.
Yeah. So lucky enough, Rach had breakfast with me afterwards. But yeah, and then we made our way to Canggu. Yeah, from there afterwards, we basically went straight to Canggu from there.
Yeah.
We brought the motorbike. We already brought that back the day before.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a Sunday. Went straight down to Canggu. We got a cab.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we got your man again.
Yeah, same driver took us from the airport.
Yeah.
And when we got to Canggu, we stayed in a really nice place.
It's gorgeous.
Really gorgeous place. But Canggu is on the beach. It's right on the coast, and it's a bit like Miami. They have really commercial, a lot of Botox going on there, probably a few steroids flying around, and a bit posery. So on first impressions, I thought this isn't really.
The thing about it was, I only coming back. When we were there, we were like, oh, this is so commercial and so westernized. It's like America here, or Spain maybe. But then I think it's because we came from Ubud. Yeah. And Ubud was so it was such a spiritual place. Everybody, they really looked after the environment there. They were really conscious. Everything was vegan. It was all like small restaurants that local. It was they had all these, putting out their flowers offerings in the morning. Flowers.
Yeah. It was like
it was just it was completely different. It wasn't built up at all. We didn't see any McDonald's or any fast food places, and
nice roads, easy to get around. We get to Canggu, and
lots of nature.
I've seen a billabong. Yeah, and also Ubud is up in the mountains, loads of greenery everywhere, and water. But Canggu, first thing I seen was a billabong store. I thought, oh God, this is commercial. And then there is a road. There is a shortcut you can take. Yeah, and it's actually in like as known as a highlight of Canggu, as in like
the shortcut, that's what it's called.
Do you dare to take this shortcut? And you can go on YouTube and watch all the accidents that happen on it. It was a disaster. I mean, no wonder they have the big. There's a lot of people that drive these kind of chopper bikes, almost like Harley Davidsons with big fat tires. And I thought it was just to show off, so they look like what was that? Kings of or whatever, to look kind of cool. But it's because of the roads. It was. I mean,
it was so scary, and I'm already nervous on a motorbike, and we were right at the end of this shortcut. So to get to the beach, to get to whatever yoga, to get to dinner, it was you had to take the shortcut every time, and I'm terrified. And it's basically a road that is like it's on stilts. It's so high up. Like if you fought, it's so skinny, and cars
3 meters wide maybe.
Yeah, and there's holes in it as well.
Yeah.
There was like a good few potholes that you couldn't drive through. You had to go around this round that took up like 3/4 of the road. But it was so scary because cars drove down and motorbikes and everybody. There's no regulation. Like people went on either side of the cars, and if you went off the road, like you're going down. And it's just, oh god, and I had no control because I was not going to be driving a motorbike. I'm on the back trusting that Kevin doesn't, because we're going so slowly because of the congestion at points as well, that you naturally on a bike are going to do a little wobble, and I'm like I can't breathe. But
so that was we went on that every day, that we had that shortcut. And the good thing about the one thing you have in Canggu you don't have in Ubud is the beach, obviously. And the beach was lovely. We had a great day. We went out in the waves, jumping around, and it was just lovely to be in the sea together. And it was hot. And we met Doug, the Downward Doug. Shout out to Doug. We love Doug.
We love Doug.
Yeah, but so we met Doug out there as well, and it was the yoga out there. We were told about this place called The Practice, and I was given tickets for The Practice. And when I walked in, I was like, well, this is the most beautiful yoga studio I've ever seen. I even think I actually preferred it to
Yoga Barn
in terms of beauty. I thought it was just stunning. Well, it's probably on
it was probably about the same level.
Probably about the same there, but
really beautiful. Yeah.
But the Practice was just. It was just so well done. I mean, they had assistants to help put away your mat. Right, I can put away my mat, but just the fact that it had
and they had the ginger tea.
I have to say, in terms of how she was ran, how beautiful it was, the staff, just professionalism. The Practice was numero uno. But I went to 3 classes. I think you went to 1 or 2. Did you, H?
I went to 2.
2, and I didn't enjoy the yoga there. I thought it was dull. I thought it was not my cup of tea. I went to 3 different types of yoga there. I went to moon practice, a heat practice like sun practice, and then I think it was like a lunchtime thing. And the classes were very similar. Obviously, the teachers seem like they've been trained to teach the class a certain way, but I found it very, very like hatha based as opposed to vinyasa.
It was more like a movement meditation with very little movement.
Yeah, it was. I wasn't a fan of the yoga at The Practice. Just personally.
The thing about it that was difficult was, like, the first one that we went to, the moon practice. It was about 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and it was the time when most of the mosquitoes were out, and you were so itchy. Like, I couldn't focus, and it was basically a meditation, is what it was. There were some very small movements, and it was just very difficult to do a meditation for an hour and a half, was it?
Oh, yeah.
An hour and a half, when you're just uncomfortable. It's just very difficult. Plus, it's fair enough with the moon class because you expect it to be slow, and you're looking inwards with the moon. That's fine. The sun. We went to a sun class the next morning, expecting to like wake up and do sun salutations and some sort of dynamic movement to get us going and get us ready for the day. But it was almost like the moon class again.
It was, yeah. It was very similar. I wasn't a fan of the classes. Just as a practitioner, I think they were very well done, but just I'm not a fan of that style of yoga. But one thing that was great about another thing that was great about The Practice was we went to a talk with Octavio. I forget his surname, but he's the head honcho there. And it was brilliant. It was
it's amazing.
Oh, it was, and what a speaker! Young guy, Kiwi. There was, I don't know, Rach, what, 150 people in the room?
Yeah, it was packed. And people kept coming. Even like half an hour into it, people were still arriving.
This guy, and he was reminded me a bit of Obama. You know, he'd say something, and then he'd pause, and then he'd look around. You know, and I thought, wow, this guy's really managing the room so well. He's a great speaker, and the talk was on Tantra, and it's really interesting, really well done. He knew his stuff, really well,
and it was so interesting. And
it was actually, yeah.
I was thinking, we said, oh, it was in the evening, and we were like, oh yeah, we can go for dinner and then go to this talk. It was on at like 8:00 or something, something like that, 8:00. And we expected it to go on for maybe a half an hour, but it went on for at least 2 hours, 2.5 maybe. And we only found that out when we arrived, because we said, oh, what is this, 20 minutes, half an hour? No, at least 2 hours. And I'm thinking, how is he going to talk about this for over 2 hours and keep it, you know, interesting and exciting? But he was amazing. Yeah. And it was like something I never really thought about. And yeah, shout out to that guy.
Shout out to Octavia, yeah.
I'm not on these podcasts, so I'm going to shout out to everybody. Shout out to my mum.
But yeah, so that was good at the practice. We also went to bouldering, which is a really fun little gym, Bali climbing.
But the climbing was so hard.
It was, Jesus Christ. It was so hard. I mean, I consider myself an intermediate level climber. I couldn't do any of the routes. I maybe like 2 of the routes, and
I couldn't do anything.
Yeah,
it's like I don't even know how to get onto the wall.
And this is why I actually had Bali belly. That was in the middle of my Bali belly, where I had I hadn't eaten the whole day, but I thought I need to get out and move, so we went climbing. And middle of the day in Bali, it's roasting hot, so I thought we need to do something where we're inside, and that was great. Rach got an ear infection from the pool. Sorry, Rach, I'm shouting you out here. Didn't you, Rach?
I did.
You got an ear infection, which messed her up quite badly. But then we
got it sorted.
Got it sorted because she couldn't hear anything, so we went and got it syringed in the local.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Shout out to that doctor.
Shout out to everyone.
No, what? He was.
He was so nice. He was. I loved him.
Yeah.
He cured me. He has healing hands.
I know. He syringed your ears a couple of times.
Yeah.
It's nice stuff to talk about.
Yeah, just throw that out there.
Yeah, and you were unblocked after that. So
yeah. Funny though, because I couldn't hear I didn't realise how badly blocked I was. I couldn't hear a thing, and we met Doug for dinner one of the days that I couldn't hear a thing, and everything he said, I was like, would he say this? I was hearing completely different words, and
it kind of threw
us a bit.
Yeah,
threw me. Yeah,
because I was sick. You had an ear infection, so that happens on holiday, and that's something you have to be wary of. Is what you're eating and things like ear infections in pools, which is really common. I got one when I was in Greece. What else we do in Canggu?
What did we do in Canggu?
Anything of note? We were going to go surfing, but we never did.
Because I was nervous about surfing. I was like, we'll just test the water out again every day. We'll just test them. Make sure it's safe.
Canggu was a bit like we
just relaxed.
We just relaxed, yeah, and
went
we
to
were
the beach
and we were sick as well, so there's a lot of lying in bed, to be honest. Like kind of just trying to get better.
Strolling.
And that's what happens. But the highlight.
We went to some really nice places though. We went to that Michelin star place.
Yeah,
but we didn't know it was a Michelin star.
Yeah, okay, good point. Yeah, we did. We went to Michelin star restaurant a couple of times, but that's the thing. When we were in Ubud, we ate really clean Seori food, which is like a lot of vegan, no oils, no sauces. When we got to Canggu, we started eating like Henry VIII, and and we got sick as a dog because we were eating all this rich food, and it just went. I felt sluggish. I didn't want to move, which is really unlike me. I was felt lethargic, and but then the highlight for me for Canggu, apart from obviously meeting Doug, was I did a private with Devon Kelly, as in I was the student. Big shout out to Devon. So met him in Nirvana Strength, and it's so funny because I've been a fan of his for a while, and he's been on my podcast before, and he on his Instagram he comes across quite intense because he's up in the mountains in China practicing handstands and one-arm chin-ups, and then when you meet him, he's such a lovely guy. I met him in Nirvana Strength, gave me a big hug, and I did a handstand 1-to-1 with him, and that geezer's on another level. I mean, it was just so an honour to like train with someone like that for an hour. And he was saying to me, yeah, man, look, if we overrun a little bit, we can do more stuff like do some pull-in techniques together. He was basically saying like we could train for as long as we have time. We don't have to stick to the hour. And I was a bit like, well, listen, I don't want to leave Rach. I said I'd be away for an hour. I want to get back, and we were leaving that day. But yeah, the 1-to-1 with Devon was fantastic, and then after that he came back to our villa with his Mrs. Yao Yao, and we did podcast. So we did that. That lasted for about an hour or so, and we had food together. And yeah, Devon was cool, man. I mean, he was like, when we were eating, he was eating in a squat position. I was just
like, oh, this is just the way I eat.
I'll squat here. And I thought, wow, this guy's legit, he's the real deal. But yeah, it was an honour to meet him, and I think he's going to do great things out there. But you can listen to the podcast that I did with Devon to learn more about that.
You're on a podcast promoting another podcast.
My own one as well. It's outrageous. Anything else from Canggu? Because that was the last day.
No, Canggu is where we just relaxed. We went to the beach pretty much most days. Yeah, we went to yoga a couple of times, and that was like what you would normally do on a holiday.
Yeah.
Going to the beach, going to the pool.
Yeah.
Messing around.
And then after that podcast with Devon, he left. We had dinner, and then we went. Yeah, we left. We ordered a taxi from Grab. I think it's called the Grab app, or the other one. Anyway, and ordered it, and the guy's like, "I'll be in there in 2 minutes, boss." I'm like, yeah, sweet, nice one. So this taxi pulls up. I assume it's the guy. I'm thinking, he doesn't look anything like the picture on the app, but whatever.
But we were in a bit of a rush, getting everything, and you were taking pictures of the bike and everything to send back. And
so he's jumped in his taxi, and I was like, nice one. Showed him the app on my phone. I said, we're going to the airport. He said 300. So it says 150 on the app, and basically I said, look, we'll get out here right now unless it's 150 quid, 150,000 like we've agreed. And so that was a little bit. I started telling Rach about
oh my god, it was awful. We hopped in the taxi, and he's like, I don't think this is the app person. I'm like, all right, well, whatever, we're in a taxi, we'll just get to the airport. And your man didn't let us out because he said, oh, we'll hop out now, and he had the doors locked, and he was like, no, airport. I'm like, okay. And I'm thinking nothing of it, and Kevin's like, what, like, are we going towards the airport, looking at his phone on Google Maps and everything? Like, what is going on with him? And he was like, oh, I know somebody who went to South America and hopped in a taxi from the airport, and they took him to the middle of nowhere and robbed him. And I was like, what? Oh my god, don't tell me that. So it was like the most tense taxi ride I've ever had in my life. Like, oh god, he's going to take us to the middle of nowhere. Because a couple of nights before we watched Banged Up Abroad, the Bali version. I was like, oh my god, these things happen to innocent people. We're never going to survive. But we made it home.
Yeah, it took us to the airport, and then when we got to the airport, I said, Rach, I rehearsed this script about, because we didn't get upgraded on the way back. We thought maybe we upgrade again. We didn't. We're in economy, and see the way I said that with like disdain. Economy.
So below us now.
And I thought, right, I read out I just Googled how to get upgraded for free, and one person, this travel blogger, said, say this. So I rehearsed it in my head. I was walking up, and I said, you know what, I'm just going to go straight to the business line. Walked up, and I says, hey, how you doing? Yeah, gave our boarding passes. And they like, oh, this is economy, not business. I said, yeah. So, and I had this whole thing rehearsed, and I forgot what I was saying halfway through. And she said, so what are you? And I said, so for that reason, can we get upgraded? No. Like, okay.
No, she said, oh, hang on a moment. And she went off. She came back and she said, oh, it's your lucky day. An upgrade is $800 per person, or whatever it was. I can't remember. And then Kevin was all flustered because he only half remembered his speech. And I was like, no, free. no money. But we didn't.
We didn't get upgraded.
We tried it at every turn. We were going through security. Is there any upgrades? I'm just a security check-in. Yeah. We're like buying a sandwich. Is there any upgrades?
Yeah. So when we got on the plane, and the flight back was alright, wasn't it? It was fine. Yeah. We didn't sleep at all.
No. God, we were messed up when we got home.
Jesus Christ.
The jet lag killed us.
The jet lag. But then, in fairness, after one good sleep, we were done. I mean, we were back to normal. I was fine. But that was our trip to Bali. Any final thoughts, Rach?
I don't know. It was a great holiday. Yeah. In case we were overly negative on this. We were like, oh, I don't want to do this. But everything went well. We didn't kill each other.
No, yeah, everything went well.
We had a good time. Like, there was a couple of obstacles, with the flights were a mess before we left, and we both got sick at different times, and we had to get a motorbike, which was awful. But yeah, no, I had a great time.
I'd recommend Bali, but just when you go on holiday, it's important to remember things like mosquitoes, like trying to sleep when it's really hot, like geckos in your room, jet lag, airplane food, getting sick, food poisoning, ear infections. And these are things that you have to just understand these are going to happen. Yeah. But when you see photographs of people on holiday, you don't see all that stuff. And but definitely as a more personal note, as a couple, it was really good for us because it was the second week was kind of trying because we were both sick at the same time. You're around each other a lot, and but yeah, it was great. I mean, Bali, Ubud. I mean, Canggu, maybe give it a go for a couple of days, but I think Ubud, I just love that place.
Yeah, I loved it so much.
Yeah, shout out to Ubud.
Shout out to Bali.
The mayor of Ubud, yeah, exactly.
I wish we remembered our Bali song.
What?
You remember when we went to the ceremony and it was like, praise Bali, whatever it was.
Oh,
because we could finish on that.
It was what a sing song.
Yeah, like a sign off.
Okay, one sec. I think it was like, thank you, Mama Ubud, wasn't it something like that?
Yeah, but I can't remember the rhythm.
Damn it.
Thank you, Mother Ubud.
Thank you.
We just sound like saps there.
Yeah. All right. Right, shoot some handstands.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks so much for listening. Just a couple of things before I let you go. July 6th, I have my Heels Overhead handstand workshop in the Elba Room. Also on July 27th, I have my teacher training open day, Yoga Hub Castle Knock. The second one is a free event. The first one is not free. You gots to pay. If you go to kevinboyleyoga.ie/events and retreats, you'll be able to check out all that's happening with me. And I'll leave you with our two sponsors, Apparel. Check them out. If you want clothing and you're a fella and you like to do yoga, but you also want to be mindful of your impact on your environment and the world, go to om.com/#TYLP. And you can find yourself some cool looking clothing that is made with sustainable products in manufacturing that's done responsibly. Go to om.com/#TYLP. So that's ohmme.com/#TYLP. Check out their full range of eco-active wear for fellas. If you put in the promo code Kevin when you get to checkout, you get 15% off your purchases. That's Kevin at checkout for 15% off. Last but most definitely not least, small changes. They make a big difference. So if you go to Small Changes here in Dublin, you can find yourself some whole food organic produce. They don't have an online offering as yet, but they have one base in Drumcondra, which is in North Dublin, and they're opening another one here soon in Glasnevin. So if you're in the area, if you're visiting Dublin, check them out. Tell them Kev sent you, say hello. There's no commission, no promo code. Just go in, meet someone, buy some stuff, feel good about yourself and the fact you're looking after yourself and the world. Thanks so much for listening as always. I hope you have a great week. Chat to you next week.